To this session. This one is really fun. This is one that I have been waiting for about 36 years. So I've been patient because the model is our store, and there's a lot that's going on with what we could buy in the store and what we can't buy in the store. And you're going to learn about the next step of what's going to happen in the store, or what's happening already in the store. So I want to first introduce and thank our sponsor, Cali, for lunch. And Jay Flynn is going to tell you all about Cali floors.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today, talk a little bit about Cali, and also learn more about what the panel is going to talk about. My name is Jay Flynn. I'm the VP of the Builder Channel for Cali Floors. And what I like to do is make sure that each of you all understand who we are, what we're doing, and what's unique to us in our business, where a partnership with Cali can support your individual business. So we'll walk through each of those steps in a short, condensed way. Don't worry, Nancy.
I'm good. I got the timer going. Go ahead.
So what I'd like to do is help you understand a little bit more about Cali and what sets us apart. And primarily what sets us apart is in the flooring industry, we are a true brand. We stand for something in the industry versus just delivering product and having a logo. And at the same time, we provide a great product at a great value, all the things that the Builder Channel needs. So I'm going to start with versus me telling you about it. Have our team tell you a little bit about it.
Founded upon a spirit of adventure, a commitment to living authentically, creating spaces that feel like home. Coastal-inspired collections. Made to transform homes. Inside and out. Collections as beautiful as they are durable. Easy to install. Easy to clean. Easy to design with. Easy to love. Pet-friendly. With the right collection for every home.
That definitely sets the tone better than I could set the tone. Mm-hmm. And what it helps you understand is Cali is about the Cali lifestyle from a design standpoint, from a standpoint of what we deliver, what we stand for, and we leave the politics out of it. We like the other parts of Cali and the Cali lifestyle. But what we try to do is give you all of that at the same time as giving you the core product that you need to support your business. And what I'd like to do first, before I jump into it, is get a feel for the group. And Kevin and Nancy don't count because I know you know. Mm-hmm. But who in here knows anything about Cali floors? So we have a handful of people in the audience, great, but most don't. And there's a reason for that, especially in the Builder Channel, and I want to help you understand why that's the case and why it won't be the case for very long. So as of 15 months ago, this is what a sample of builders using Cali floors looked like. I came on board about at that point. and started from the ground up in the builder channel, but not from the business overall. We've been selling product for 20 years, direct to consumers, through the big box chain, through large dealers across the country. But we've got the product, we have the infrastructure, we have the service. It was just a matter of understanding the other elements that are needed to engage with and provide product for your channel. And that's where I came in. And in the last 15 months, here's just a sampling of different builders that we're working with through our flooring contractor partners around the country. And this goes from the largest of the large single family and multifamily builders to regional, private, almost every end of the spectrum. And I don't even think I have yours up there, Kevin, but we work with Old Town in the Indianapolis market. So this gives you an idea of what we've been able to do in a short period of time. And we're just getting started with it. And I want you to understand how we've been able to do that. Number one is our parent company. Again, a name, unless you're familiar with International Flooring, you don't recognize Victoria PLC. But they're a publicly traded company, one of the largest flooring businesses in Europe. They've got over 47 brands, Cali being one of them, and in almost every flooring category. What they've done is acquired us and given us the tools and resources to expand, to grow our team, grow our product line, grow our resources. And that's been a huge part of what we've been able to do over the last couple of years. Some of the other things that we do is focus on doing things a little differently versus having the same product the same way. For example, in our laminate category, we've got waterproofing technology that takes what the category is doing for traditional suppliers to another level to give a better product that's going to hold up better for the consumer. For our LVP products, we're able to get a much more diverse line of products, 2 to 5x the number of SKUs that other suppliers have based on how we produce it. And it's going into shifting technology within the production. Takes a little bit more to do it, but it enables the consumer and the home buyer to have a much more realistic looking home. And just, I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail on product, but I want you to get a feel for it. Our number one product is Builder's Choice. You know, this is a core product line for the builder channel, an SPC LVP. But again, our color lines are a little different. Our construction is unique in that price category. And that's why we drive so much business, both in single family and multifamily with it. Beryl was the product, really one that, that I drove in coming to the business, knowing that we had to have a great value hardwood to get into the builder space in many of the markets. And Beryl was one that I worked with our team on developing. But again, with Cali, we do it a little differently. We started a 1/2-inch product. It is a European white oak, 2mm veneer. Things that are typically looked at as higher upgrades that we're able to bring in at a value for our customers. And Pacifica is one of the most exciting products that we have. I was just discussing it with Kevin the other day. It's one he doesn't have in his program yet because we're just now launching it. This is our new starting price point laminate. It has such a realistic look in the finishes, a real wood look, but with a tremendous value for the home buyer. Again, we're trying to do things differently. If you go into design centers or retail showrooms across the country, you see just row after row after row of sample after sample after sample, and they blend together. Our displays and merchandising do not blend. They're unique to Cali. You know, The one in the center, our longboard, that's literally our longboard product, a 72-inch plank in the middle of a longboard surfboard. It creates a uniqueness. It helps the home buyer understand they're looking at something different, and there's a different story behind the product. So that is my condensed 10-minute or less.
You did less.
Did I make my deadline?
Yeah, you're good, Jay.
On Cali, who we are, why we're becoming a player in the builder business, and hopefully giving you some ideas about how we could support your business. So thank you very much for the time. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you, the Tech Home team. We appreciate the time, and hopefully we'll see you upstairs over the next 2 days.
Yep. Thanks, Jay. Okay, so we're going to get started on models. And Janet's going to start us off. Oh, maybe we should introduce. Okay, you know Janet and I, right? All of you guys have been here for Janet and I, so you don't need an introduction. But let's go ahead. Just introduce who you are, your name, and what company you're with, and what you do.
Hello, my name is Eoin Harrington. I'm with Mine, and we create shoppable models which can change your customer's experience. And we have Studio Mine, which allows you to generate that model, shoppable model, very, very easily. And I'll share more about that today.
Awesome. Hi, good afternoon. Jed Kelly, lead enterprise sales at Wayfair when Wayfair Professional. We work with builders to help design, have the assortment, then ship and install both models as well as sales offices and amenity spaces. And looking forward to discussing how we can help with that, as well as provide value to your end customers as well.
Great.
Good afternoon. My name is Travis Rulle, Chief Operating Officer of FBC Mortgage. We're a mortgage company that specializes in supporting home builder business, taking control of your pipeline, understanding your consumer, but also thinking of new ways to bring modernized traditional financing to a new world, as we will discuss today.
Yep. Great. Okay, you guys have been used to me up here with all the women. I decided to bring the men up today. And I went with tall ones, just in case. So anyways, we're going to start with Janet, though. Janet does model merchandising and does the whole thing with builders. She's with Meritage. So she's going to walk us through the best practices of creating a model complex.
Yep. And just to preface, guys, I'm kind of pulling my experience really working with various builders. Mm-hmm. So everything from semi-custom homes to multifamily, and then to first move up and 55 plus. So I'm kind of pulling that all together. So I really wanted to share with you, when you think of a model complex, I distilled it down to 5 key elements that I think as a builder, you need to really think through. First and foremost, start with your product knowledge and your overall product mix. And what I mean by that is really understand, the floor plans that you're going to bring to the community and what you want to model. And generally, what we do internally is we look at the product mix. How many, and I know this isn't going to apply to every market. Some markets, you just build as the customer selects the floor plans. But many of our communities, many of our markets, those plans are already kind of pre-selected by lot. And so you want to be really thoughtful about the mix based on what consumer take rate is. And conversely, you want to also think about what you want to model for that mix. And know your product, know the strengths and weaknesses of that product. And I'll speak to that in a minute. Second is taking a strategic approach to model merchandising. Having worked with an interior design firm a few years ago, I was president of a small firm in Southern California, and our clientele was home builders. And it was a unique experience for me because I come from home building and marketing. And what I really tried to impress with marketing directors at different companies is when you're doing models, we have kind of a responsibility to use those models as a showroom. And ultimately, it's to sell homes and not to forget that. It's not about just making the models look pretty. There has to be a strategic approach to that. So a few things that I would say are key takeaways. Avoid over merchandising. I think I spoke to this a little bit yesterday. Mm-hmm. You're selling new home products. So you don't want to put so much stuff in the models that your consumers can't really see the beautiful finishes and elements within your models. So don't over merchandise. Also, be sure to align merchandising with your target buyers. Know who your buyers are. And most builders will commit to doing some market research to really understand those buyer segments. But then you want to align your merchandising with those buyers. And then, as I mentioned before, really knowing your product. Know what the strengths and weaknesses of your product. And what I mean, to give you a tangible example of this, many times when we're doing multifamily, the secondary bedrooms can be small. And so you have to be really thoughtful about how you want to furnish them. You don't want to put like a queen size bed, right?
Yeah.
into a small secondary bedroom because it's going to make it even seem smaller. So really understand what those strengths are of your product, and you want to emphasize those strengths and minimize any weaknesses. And then finally, someone spoke about this the other day. Don't overlook the exterior spaces. Yeah. You guys, they spoke a little bit about this yesterday in the featured speakers. Mm-hmm. You know, outdoor space is really becoming an extension of the interior. So be thoughtful and don't overlook that. You want to really blend the interior and exterior so it just seems very seamless in how it feels.
Yeah, because I know in California Irvine had created the California room.
That's right, kind of the first thing. Yeah.
Everybody wanted the California room. So
yeah. Step 3, take a strategic approach to what, where, and how you'll showcase options and upgrades within your models. Again, we spoke about this yesterday. One thing that builders tend to overlook is really being strategic about where they want to show their upgrades and options. Mm-hmm. Align them with where your buyer is most likely to spend. And that generally is in the kitchen first and foremost, the primary bedroom and bath. And then things like secondary bedrooms and secondary baths. My experience, most buyers don't want to allocate a lot of extra dollars in those areas. So again, be thoughtful about where you showcase them in your models.
Yeah, and I think the powder bath. Did you say powder?
Powder bath, because that makes a big impression, right, to your guests.
Right.
So you want something to look nice there.
What I found is people that are kind of in a retirement age, they want every room done because this is going to be what they call their final living space. I know we talked about that yesterday at the keynote. They talked about that.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. You're right. Because they talked about the boomers having a lot of more money
mm-hmm.
and equity.
Money, yeah.
And so as they're looking to downsize, it's not about quality of space at that point.
Right.
It's really, not about quantity of space at that point. It's really about the quality of space.
Right. They know what they want. When they come in, they want to upgrade everything.
That's right. That's a great point. And then for those that do interior packages, what's nice about that is, it's an opportunity for the builder to do kind of the heavy lifting. And this particular is really important for that first-time buyer that might be a little overwhelmed with making selections and maybe really is constrained within budget. That, in my opinion, is a really great opportunity to do the curated packages because it does provide kind of an enhanced experience for that buyer. And it allows them some level of choice without overwhelming them. And then finally, we talked about this multiple times, I think, in many of our sessions, is be really intentional in knowing what that optional bandwidth budget is for your buyer segments. And you want to then present them with things that are going to fit within that bandwidth, ultimately to create a very positive customer experience for them, right? And this was just talking about when you do packages, there are opportunities to what we call do enhancements. So that might play out in terms of plumbing enhancements or finishes with lighting, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. These are just some samples that we do at Meritage of some of the pre-selected curated packages. I wanted to stop for a moment before we go to the next one. And this is something I think that's really important to take into mind as you're putting together packages or you're offering options and upgrades. And it's called the paradox of choice. So this was a study done, I think, back in 2000 with 2 psychologists from Columbia and Stanford. And the assumption was if we offer a customer more choices, they're more likely to buy our products. And what they did is they actually, and the reason I have the jams here, they did a study where they would go into supermarkets. And at first they offered something like 25 to 35 selections of jams. And they asked customers to pick like the top 5. And what they found is people were really struggling to come up with their top 5 favorites. They did the same experiment, but they reduced it to, I think, like 10 different selections. And what they found was customers were able to pick like the top 5. And what they realized was that the paradox is you want to give buyers choices, but when you tend to give them too many choices, they almost become stagnant. They become paralyzed. I don't know if any of you guys been, hopefully nobody owns this, but the Cheesecake Factory, it's a store that's a restaurant in the West Coast. If you go into the Cheesecake Factory, and they're known for cheesecake, but if you look at the menu, you guys, it is so overwhelming. They do Mexican, they do Asian.
It's like 10
restaurants in one.
Back to back, yeah.
And I remember every time I go there, I'm like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. I'll have to get the Cobb salad or something like
I know,
that.
I get the soup.
Right? Because it's just so overwhelming. You just kind of feel paralyzed. And so I think the takeaway for me is that, when you're thinking through your options and your choices, it's always great to give consumers choices, but be really mindful not to exhaust the customer with just overkill and too many choices, right? Because it does paralyze them, and you want to be thoughtful about what kind of choices you're
making. As designers, because I know this table mostly is my design table over here, but when you're presenting to a buyer, you should be presenting 2 choices to them. If you just tell them to look around and shop your showroom, they start pointing and how much is this and how much is this, and they want to know that. So you should be designing and presenting 2 choices and see what they like or don't like about them, and then take away what they don't like and put things in. Otherwise, they will go standard. Yeah. That's really not going to be any benefit for anybody.
That's right. So, step 4, and we talked about this over the last day or two, clear communication to buyers. I know, Kathy, you brought this up many times about transparency. When I was at William Lyon, I headed up marketing for the company, and one of the things we brought on a new ad agency, and one of the things I asked them to do, because they were outside of our business, was to do market research to really understand the home buying journey for different segments. So the first time buyer, first move up, 55 plus. And the one thing that I took away from those buyer journeys were, gosh, when you're buying a home, it can be difficult, right? And you're dealing with mortgage, you're dealing with the builder. And one of the things we learned was builders tend to create a lot of hurdles for our customers. We don't always make it easy for them. And so we started looking at that whole buyer journey from start to finish and even after post-close and say, how do we reduce those hurdles? How do we make it easier for them to have a good experience? And part of that was helping them understand what comes standard included versus optional. Someone mentioned the other day about, I think it was you, Nancy, back in the 90s, we had these little plaques, optional, standard, optional. It was crazy. And to ask our buyers to try to figure that nightmare. Clearly communicate also the feature and benefits. So if you're showing some option upgrades, what's the benefit to the consumer? That's what they really want to understand. And definitely support with visual tools. We live in this beautiful age of technology, guys, and one of the takeaways we got from our market research is consumers more than ever is don't tell me, just show me. So to the extent you can use tools in your model, tours to just show them what those feature benefits are, they can digest that information really easily, do it. And then we talked about yesterday too, to the extent that you can actually show that tactile, finishes that are standard versus upgrades. Throughout the tour is super helpful.
Yeah.
And I won't spend much time here, but when I talk about creating visual tools, some of the things that I've seen utilized are digital tags. Again, a lot of times those are a QR code. They can swipe it. It takes them to a quick little video that can live on your website, or it can give them some information. Again, bulleted fashions, super simple, easy to understand the benefits. Interactive tools. We talked a little bit about the viewfinders that you see. That is becoming more and more affordable, but they can put those on and they can actually see different finishes and how those might live in that space. And then I would say identify specific areas to showcase standard features using a clear visual. So again, what that might look like is, we'll pick areas within the model to maybe demonstrate a standard included kitchen. It doesn't have to be in every one of the models, but one of them. Because again, I think they can look at visual tools, but someone also mentioned the other day, it's nice to also see that tactically and what those finishes look like and feel like. That makes sense. And then final, I would say, really look to create a welcoming buyer experience. So today, I know this hasn't been adapted through all builders, but certainly we do it at Meritage. We feel like the trap fence. What a great name, right? Trap fence. It used to be consumers used to come in and we would trap them. So they'd have to go through the sales office to
come in and
engage with us. That's kind of a misnomer now.
So are you guys doing trap fences? Is everyone? No.
Yeah. Okay. It was a wasted expense. It wasn't the best experience for customers, and it's really not needed. When we know that like literally 98% of the people coming through our doors have already researched us online. If they're there, most likely they're there because they want to engage. Sales centers, we're exploring this right now. I know in my division, we are not doing sales centers anymore. That used to be more of a necessity because, you know, they had to be in the back office, a closing office as we called it, which was always really nice too. And what we found is most customers just wanted to get in and out of the sales office. We're doing all of those one-on-one signings via DocuSign in the privacy of their home. We don't need to put them in a closing office. In some cases, we'll modify this where we'll take a model and maybe have a flex space in the model where we can have that private discussion. But our storefront, in terms of everything that we need to share with that customer, is digital. It's on a flat screen. I can take that anywhere. And it's like, from a psychological perspective, what's really interesting, you guys, when you look at the consumer, this is where I think the resale market has really informed a lot of what we're going. When a consumer comes in, think about their experience. They come through the sales center, and then it's me kind of versus them. They're in my office, my sales center, and I'm sitting across the desk, right? It kind of psychologically puts me in a position of power where if I said, let's go walk the models, I'll take my laptop and I just sit down at the kitchen table. Now that feels like an equal platform, right? It feels more comfortable. It's not me versus them. So we're really challenging that across the board in our company to really adapt more of a resale mentality as far as that engagement with the buyer. And then introduce elements throughout the model to enhance the buyer senses. This is something that I was really introduced to me several years ago with Brookfield Communities. They do such a great job. And that is, think about their experience when they come in. You know, is there an opportunity? We talked to a vendor yesterday who introduces music, you know, when they come, even before they get into the model. It kind of sets the tone. And TVs, are they live? And is there content on there? Think about the fragrances in your models, right? I remember initially we would like literally do these little things where it would smell like cinnamon rolls, like when you came in, or we'd bake cookies, stuff like that. Think about areas where you can introduce water treatments outside. So when you open those sliders, you kind of hear the water. If you've ever walked into a model that's, I call it stagnant, where there's nothing, it's a very different experience. I'm telling you, those subtleties really play on the consumer's mind. And again, if you deal with a real high-end, like really good resale brokers, they'll tell you, you know, like think about the fragrance in your home, have the doors open, you know, the breezes are blowing in. That experience is not to be underrated. And then finally, optimize interior, exterior living spaces. We talked about this. Super important. I remember we were doing some homes, kind of like this picture you see at the bottom in Las Vegas, some very high-end homes that had the seamless nano doors that you could open out. And, you know, that interior, exterior experience just extended that living all the way outdoors. And they felt like the house felt so much bigger, right? Because they could utilize that space. And that's becoming more and more popular.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Eoin, you're up.
Thank you. Okay, how's everyone doing? Great. Quick backstory how I got here. I used to work at Restoration Hardware and was head of innovation for the company, and I was traveling around as we transformed from the 10,000 square foot stores to the big gallery stores you see today. And when I was traveling the country, I was often that guy at a hotel. You'd see the crazy guy turning a chair over, looking for some kind of a label or a tag or something to try and find out where the product's from. Has anyone done that in their past at all? Designers probably. Yeah. So it would always end up in failure as well. It never worked out well, because even if you find a logo or a brand, you can't buy the thing anyway, because it's from some wholesale vendor. And secondly, I bought a house in Sausalito a long time back, and I wanted to buy about half the furniture in the staged home. And my efforts with the realtor and the staging company all fell flat. I tried 4 phone calls to the staging company trying to buy the product that was in the house. About half of it I liked an awful lot, and it all fit. And if you've been trying to furnish a home in the past, you know how hard it is to get it to look well and work well. So I wanted to buy it, couldn't buy it. I was shocked, and at that point in time started Mine Up. So Mine is a platform that we built to create, let's see if this works here. So we started Mine Up to make any space shoppable in the world. It just happened so that the builders really resonated well with the concept because they had already had situations happening where people were walking the door saying, hey, I want to buy the house, but I want to buy the master bedroom the way it is, or that sofa over there. So they'd already had this experience with their home buyers before we came along. Actually, one of the first quotes from Pulte, the lady who has heads of design over there, said, we've had, I've wanted this to exist for 15 years. So we came along and more or less created a technology that allowed us to make that model home shoppable. What does that mean? When you walk in the door of a model home, you can pull your phone out, you can scan a QR code, and you'll see a storefront, an e-commerce storefront that perfectly mirrors that model home. So when if you wanted to buy that sofa, you can pull your phone out and just press buy. Now, the fact of the matter is most home buyers aren't going to actually buy anything at that point in time. So, because they haven't committed to a house yet. But it does serve as a connection point for the home buyer and this particular model that they might fall in love with. And that's what happens. We see people take little cards away, and then later on in the evening, they'll scan the card and go check out that house again because, oh, I love that master bedroom. So it serves as a kind of a memory point for potential home buyers. Now we come back in later on and touch base with the customer at different points along the customer home buying journey, which is, of course, a very long journey. So today we have around 1,500 locations across the US, work with a lot of builders. Just one fact about one of our partners, Pulte, they have in total live, open 7 days a week showroom space, about twice as much as the company I used to work for, Restoration Hardware. Resto has around 1.3 million square feet, and Pulte has around 2.6 million square feet of showroom space open 7 days a week. So it's kind of shocking when you think about it. And yeah, here's some examples of how Pulte reminds the customer about the fact that they can shop furniture from the model homes through Mine. And so here's TriPoint as well. They have a lot of stuff on their website too. Pulte actually has us in their design centers as well. As a reminder, after they max out the home buyer with the fixtures, finishings, floorboards, etc., which we know that's a very important thing. When that's all said and done, then they can say, hey, by the way, don't forget furniture is your next big challenge, and our partner Mike can help you with that. So they mentioned at that point in time too. Here we have Bobby Burke. He's a famous designer. He's working with TriPoint right now. So the three of us working together to offer a shoppable experience to their home buyers. Also on Studio Mine, which I'll tell you about in a second. Bobby and TriPoint have created 10 collections of furniture, whole stores, if you will, that they can build on Studio Mine, which they can offer to their home buyers. So Bobby actually and his team curated that with TriPoint. So it's an extra brand enhancer for the builder.
They just did a model opening in Southern California where Bobby was there, and most of the people in my world were there as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they loved it.
Our team is from across the landscapes of retail, technology, and home building as well. And so, along the way, when we started building shoppable models for builders, we realized that the most important point in time to get involved in this process is at the very, very start of the model merchandising process. If you are involved there, that allows you to actually create the shoppable model experience in a much easier, seamless way. So our mission is to help design firms out there who work with builders and design teams inside builders, if that's the way they manage the process, to efficiently scale their businesses without increasing headcount, and also offering an elevated consumer experience and an opportunity for attachment sales for the builders as well. So every sale that takes place, the builder gets a cut on that sale as well down the road. But our whole platform has been built to support the design firms and design teams within builders or who work for those builders. So that's what Studio Mine's all about. And we have very good reviews from different folks, both external and internal. But just one example there, teams are seeing a 4x improvement in their ability to deliver models. So if a design firm was doing 10 models last year, they can do 40 models next year. So think of us as kind of a back of house, additional support technology platform for your company. I'll tell you what's involved in Studio Mind. So when we built this out, we had to put everything in one box. So in Studio Mind, you get access to 250,000 SKUs, wholesale vendor pricing, through the one platform. So it's like being logged into today 87 different vendors, and we're bringing on another 30 vendors right now as well. So it's going to be a very comprehensive set of products and styles that covers all kinds of price points. We have design tools. I'll go into these. I'll show you here. So the vendors, the vendor marketplace, 250,000 SKUs today, live inventory feeds. So for your folks who are working on these projects, they can drag and drop and create designs very quickly. Before we had this, our team was having to go out and find products on someone's website, copy the image, bring it back to some PowerPoint presentation or some platform where we were building the mood boards, copy the SKU information, pricing information, put that inside a spreadsheet, track the budgets, try and track inventory. It's a nightmare. So we wanted to have it all in one location, so it was very easy to use. And our pricing, as I said, is pretty good because we've been buying for quite a lot of time, and we pass that low price through to you guys. And you don't have to worry about MOQs or minimum orders with any given vendor because you're buying through our accounts. Secondly, we plugged all the tools that you need to run the business and go through the workflow into the platform. So your mood boards are created automatically with a few little moves in the platform. You can create invoices if you need to, seamless mood board creation. As I said, there's an AI design assistant called Estelle who's in there who can help with an awful lot of stuff. She's very handy. And you can collaborate with your team members, work together on projects. If someone's out on a given day, someone else can jump in and take over a project. As you're working on your projects, you can actually create stores as you're going, so you're not losing opportunities to build the institutional knowledge within a firm. So you can really expand the knowledge base and capture that tribal knowledge that's in a company, and collaborate with your clients, whether that be a decision maker, a divisional president, or someone internal in the company that needs to approve a design. We can take care of procurement for you. A lot of design firms, as you scale, you have to increase your procurement team. We become your procurement arm, so it makes that easy for you as well. We handle all damage claims and quality issues that might arise with the shipment of a product.
And you do it very well.
And we do it very well. We have very high NPS scores.
My designers are very happy with that.
Yeah, we have very good reviews on our customer service. We really care about that. And then anything you do inside the platform, whatever it is, even if it didn't become the final design that the builder actually wanted to go with, whatever you create can become a shoppable design with one click. So and then that shoppable e-commerce store can generate revenue for the builder, or if the design firm has other projects going on, they can generate revenue for themselves that way. So four steps to create a shoppable design. There's 4 steps for the home buyer to purchase something within the model home. And I think I'll show a quick. How am I on time right now, by the way?
You're good.
Okay, I can show one little quick video here and then play one game at the end. Is that cool? Do you have time for that?
You got 5 minutes.
Perfect. Okay. So as I was saying, one-stop shop for merchandising, improved efficiency for design teams, a differentiated experience for home buyers, and you can unlock revenue for you, the home builders. I thought there was a better ride.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Here's a video.
To Studio
you can do it.
Today, I'll show you how to create a shoppable design. First, you'll want to make sure that you're logged into your account. Next, you'll be able to access the Studio Mind platform. I'm going to go ahead and pick up where I left off. As you can see, I've already dropped in a background, and I'm using perspective and drop shadow to give a little more depth to the room. Now, let me add a couple more products to finish this space. I'm going to go into the Mind Marketplace, and I'm searching for a chandelier I'd like to use. We're going to go ahead and use the Volca chandelier. So I'll go ahead and add that item in. And then I'm able to go back to my actual mood board and pop these last items in. So I'll go ahead and scroll down. I'm going to add in the Volca chandelier. And I also know that I'd like to use the reed chair. So I can type that in as well among all of my selections and easily access those items. Now, as you can see, I can remove the background here, and I can also change the size. One of the really great things as well is you can also change the image. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. And I can also set my image here. So again, we'll be able to go through, decide the image that we'd like to utilize. I'd like to utilize this image. I'm going to flip it over and remove the background. And I like the way everything's looking. So we're going to go ahead and create our shoppable design. I'll follow my way back to the main room, and then I'll click Shop This Space. Once I click Shop This Space, it creates a unique link to my shoppable design that I can share anywhere on the web. I can also embed on my website, and I can also add to my social media. When a follower or fan of mine wants to buy something, it's the same as a normal e-commerce experience. They can click on a product and see a little bit more information about it, and then they can also add that to their cart. They can also quick add items as well. So once they see items that they love, they can just quickly add to the cart as well. Once they're ready to check out, we take care of everything, from shipping to customer service, and then finally sending you your share of the profit. And that's all there is to it.
And by the way, too, we'll provide design services to the home buyers if they want to tweak things, or if you're a builder, if your design firm wants to get involved there as well, we can pass them out to the design firm who can work with them as well and finish off the experience. So that's always an option too. The last fun little game I'll do, I think this should work if we're on the one I just sent out a minute ago. Let's see if we get down here. This is a fun little game, guys. So I won't say which retailer this is, but at the end of the day, it's all about bringing great value to your customers and to yourselves as well. So one thing we do is showcasing to home buyers that there is huge savings by going to the right source for product. They can get a very, very good value from the partnership and from ourselves. So this is a brand that you might recognize. Any guess here on the cost of this room?
Throw it out, girls. 25.
Someone knows something here. So if you're already here before, don't mention it. Anyone else got it? This is retail price. Okay, 18,000. Anyone else?
You guys can't see.
Okay, so this is actually a brand, I may have mentioned the name earlier on today, but so 25K member price for this room. Now, you might agree that this room here looks quite similar to that room over there. Now, any guesses on the cost of this room? 18, okay. Okay, anyone else? 9. Okay, any builders?
11.
Okay. This one here is 11K, and this is that's the fully installed white glove service, all boxes taken away price for your home buyer if they bought that through mine. So you probably agree it looks pretty similar. You'll notice as well, see those nightstands look very similar, but a different kind of obviously orientation to the ones on the left-hand side. Same factory, same production technique, same materials, different price. Same with the dresses down below as well. So that's what the consumers pay for it. The price that you'd pay for mine would be about 55% or almost half of that is what the actual builder would get that for. So let's do one last little quick game, guys.
Done.
I'm done?
You're done.
Okay.
We got to pass on.
Games,
Sorry, your games are done.
Games are done. Okay, well, thank you very much.
They're great. We love mine. Thank you so much, Eoin. Okay, Jed, go ahead.
Okay.
You should be up.
I'll go ahead and get kicked off. I think we're at Wayfair Professional Wayfair. We offer very similar VPs as you were saying, ultimately in mind. And so what I want to go do is just give a little introduction on what Wayfair Professional is, which is really our professional channel for Wayfair, talk about how we support builders, and then talk about how we can support your end customers, which could both be in terms of shoppable models, but then could also just be straight value in terms of closing packages, working with them, and we can, working with our partners and builders, we discuss how much value we pass through to the end consumer and how much value we split up in between. So that's really where we'll start. And I'll start really with Wayfair Professional. We're a multi-billion-dollar business within Wayfair overall. We focus in a host of different industries, but I've called out a few here, obviously builders being the most important. But I also want to call out office, property management, and hospitality. Because if you think about the spaces that you are designing and you are walking in customers through, they will be also sales offices. They will also be amenity spaces, especially if you're working on a larger HOA where it's an outdoor space, and as in the addition, as well as models. And the VPs really kind of break down into overall 4. It starts with the assortment. I know we have problems with choice, which I thought I definitely felt seen there. If we think about Wayfair, we are the endless aisle. More than 20,000 suppliers, tens of millions of products. If you can't find something on site, please let me know. I also will turn over furniture chairs and work with our category partners to say, how can we get this supplier onto our platform? It is what we have. And then ultimately, we then build on services on top of that. Because what works just for an average consumer will not work for the folks in this room, which include complementary design services. I use that in both senses of the word, in the sense that they are gratis, as well as they are there to support your vision. You can either outsource or insource as much as you want with our design team and our project management team. We have a national install footprint. So as we go in through the pre-order into the post-order to make sure that we can consolidate, store, and then set your model up in the way that really be. And then consumer partnerships, right? Your customers are our customers too. And so it's very likely that they are Wayfair customers. And some of the things that are, especially for first-time home buyers, you think, how am I going to fill this space? As well as it's very expensive to fill this space. How can Wayfair partner with builders to sort of ease that burden? Awesome. Assortment, as I said, style and price point. We're thought of mainly if it's Wayfair, which is a mass market retailer. We also have Paragold, which works with suppliers that would be more akin to the likes of Restoration Hardware, as well as our specialty retail brands. You can see here, Jossamy, Birch Lane, All Modern. Those are akin to competitors like Williams-Sonoma, Crate and Barrel, those that you also have access to. And we have assortment within, whether it's made to order, anything across furniture, couture, home improvement. And then we have access to also a lot of data. So if you actually want to understand like what was the top seller in this state or in this region, I'm interested in sort of curating from that assortment. We can absolutely pull that for you as well. Just a flag that is going to be, trailing data versus very inspirational, but it is something that we've had builders sort of ask in terms of, well, what, within this target customer segment, what's been selling the most? So that's what we can do, and we can fill out these space types. On these design services, it's really to bring the vision to life and really sort of thinking about who is your end customer, who is your target, what region, and how do we build that together? First-time home buyer, more boomers, how else are we sort of filling out this space? And an iterative process that is effectively going to support you and your effective needs. So once again, complementary in both those areas. I'm going to click through a few install photos to sort of kind of showcase some of the work. But let's start with a proposal. Here's the kind of, I'd say, non-standard or standard sales office / model home. I think it was outlined earlier. It's really how do you make that space a lot more comfortable? What do you need for your sales agent flow? What do you need for your end customer to make sure that they feel comfortable? Well, here we both have kind of regional bespoke designs as well as a national package. What can we just go and have time and time again? Maybe we want to add a few regional flourishes, but ultimately I want to make sure that the same product is here at the same time whenever I'm starting a new development. So those are the two areas that we've been able to support builders with. Here's just an example post-install photo. This is a development that's actually not too far away from here, targeted at first-time home buyers and young families. So here the design and the furniture that's being selected is really to sort of showcase those values where we have more of a traditional farmhouse approach. And I'd say reasonably priced furniture. This model is also shoppable, so it does feel attainable as we go forward. In the living area, the builder has seen a lot of feedback on this model that it didn't feel like it could fit a small family, like in the living space. So of course, that's why we can leverage different types of furniture, leveraging a sectional in here. In terms of the bedroom, once again, going through that overall color motif, but I really prefer going to the kids' bedroom because I don't know if like you, I don't spend a lot of time in designing my kid's bedroom. My wife also works. So I love walking through models to see what designers have kind of put forward to sort of really showcase that this can be a family home. So it is always a nice touch to then sort of get that inspiration. I find a lot of inspiration finding in the overall kids room. We can put together national packages if you think about where the value and really sort of increase the overall productivity of both builders, in-house design teams, and third-party design teams, where we can start about what is the style, what is the color palette, and most importantly, what is that price point? Where are we going? How can we do, and how can we drive the most value together? We are a national e-tailer. We have a very large delivery footprint with over 15 fulfillment centers in North America and over 160 final mile delivery stations where we can help support kind of once that design process is complete, let's go ahead and get everything set up looking great. And we fully recognize that, right, while we may have long pipelines, timelines get very compressed very quickly when suddenly things get moved up. And so we're flexible to be able to meet your overall needs. So let's talk about some of the interesting stuff, how we can partner together and really drive value to your end customer. If we think about the current macro environment and where the new homeowners are coming from is primarily first-time buyers. So I'm thinking a lot more new space that's going to open up. I may not have all the furniture. I also rates are higher, therefore my penny's a bit more pinched. So how can I stretch my dollar and really think through like how can I furnish a space? And then the overall time to do it. I'm going through this process. I've got a lot of change going on in my life. How can I support that time both by working with a partner that I already have preferences in terms of my furniture or with effective design services? And that's where we've begin to partner with builders, is really in terms of, okay, did you like the design that you just walked through? Let's go ahead and effectively make it shoppable, make it easy for you. Or if you're more eclectic, let's just go ahead and transfer some value to you, customer, in terms of a closing package. Didn't like what you saw, but you know you need furniture. Fantastic. Let's partner together and effectively extend value to you. And then similarly, in terms of design services, we also have the ability for customers to work with design services. Benefit there is they already have a relationship with Wayfair. We'll already have information on their past preferences. In addition, we'll have information on the floor plan, as well as what models and what regions and what models that they saw, to effectively help and aid that sort of time crunch as you're going through. And these services can either be over the phone, or if you're millennial and you don't like to talk to anyone, it can be just through email. So I think that's really where we're trying to continue to partner with builders, is really, get the model into the vision that you want, deliver it, make sure that it's looking great. But then as we then transfer over into when you're selling to your end customer, how can Wayfair continue to be a partner for you through that process? Whether it's helping that shopping experience, whether it's effectively transferring value, and then ultimately partnering with you to think through about how can this also be accretive to builder bottom line as well.
Thanks, Jed. You were right on time. Awesome.
There we go.
Travis, pretty cool, huh? I know, right?
A lot of good stuff up here. Yeah. So if you think about everything that was just discussed, there's three groups of people, really. There's the people who see product in your design centers or online that have the cash to buy that before the home closes. There's another group of people that have capacity on an existing credit line to purchase whatever they see in a model home or design center before closing. There's another group of people that don't have that access to debt or capacity that traditionally is done after the loan closes. So a quick poll in the audience: how many people have done a mortgage and have been told by their loan officer, do not get any new debt throughout the mortgage process? All right, most everybody in this room. If not, you need some better loan officers, because that is traditionally what is done in our current process today. And there's a reason for that. The reason why you would not want to get new debt during the mortgage process is it could affect your credit score. And as you know, especially for conventional financing, that affects the cost of your rate. And it's what we call loan level price adjusters. So LLPA, if you guys are interested in the nerdy stuff that we do in the mortgage space, look that one up. That's a fun one. But what could effectively happen is you go get this new debt that affects your credit score, because as we know, credit score is based on history, the freshness of the debt. And then all of a sudden your rate was once a certain price is now way more expensive. You may or may not have the cash to do that. So what we've done at FBC, and here you see on the very top line, the traditional mortgage process that I just described, for that third group of people that don't have the cash or have the debt capacity to purchase the elements in your design centers. They wait until after the home closes, and then there's obviously a lag, or maybe you have to restart the process over, redesigning it, and then there's the shipping, and now they're in this home that's sort of moved in, sort of not. We've built a model basically that allows us to understand, simulate what would happen, based on very complex data sets, of if a consumer were to get a credit line during the mortgage process. This helps the customer at a certain point in the process start to purchase these things before the loan even closes. Now, I'm going to put a pin in that for 1 second. A mortgage company, including us or any mortgage company that you work with, the borrowers are going to go out and probably get this debt anyway. So we have the ability, it's called debt monitoring. So let's say you were advised by your loan officer not to go get a new debt, but you do it anyways. We get flagged when that debt gets reported to the credit bureaus. We get instantaneous notification that there's a now new debt. Well, the current mortgage process in our industry is reactive to that. So we say, don't do anything, and then we won't tell you, but the moment you do go do what you're planning on doing anyway, we're going to know about it. We're going to call you, and that might throw your loan out from a qualification process. So the one thing that I think builders fear is the deal not closing. Well, that fear is real even in our current process, because customers still do what customers do. They go out and find, even though they're told not to, they tend to go out and find new credit to purchase some of these buy some of this stuff at amazing prices that we're talking about here. So why not be proactive and know about it at point of sale, where we pre-qualify the customer? We understand, let's call it kind of guardrails or parameters of, hey, if this person's in this credit picture and this person's this credit picture, this is how much capacity they could go out and get a new credit line. So whether that's we suggest, hey, here's how much debt you could go get, let us know when you get it, and we condition that throughout the loan process, or we're building webhooks to connect to banks that will provide that revolving debt picture all the way throughout the entire process. We'll qualify the customer on the max payment, whether they've purchased anything on that credit card or not, we know about it, and we can move the loan through the entire process. So to kind of tie this all together, we're thinking about the transaction process so you can sell more than your design centers, and making that a possibility, which is traditionally not as a no-no in our business, but we're finding some success in the way to do it. So in a data study, that very top line there, and I'm going to throw out some numbers. I know this is a don't do when you're presenting on a panel like this, start throwing out stats that actually have in the visual. So I apologize for that. We did a study of 15,000 of our customers over the last year that touched all of our builder platforms or sales centers. And 56 of those customers had additional borrowing capacity. 55% of that 100% of the 56 had roughly about $3,000 extra a month that they could take on in debt if they wish to. And then about 45% could only take on anywhere from about $500 to $600 a month, which, that could be a $10,000, $15,000 credit line in some scenarios. So there is a group of people out there that have that extra capacity, and we want to be able to serve that group of people that has that extra capacity to make all of this a reality, and take the traditional wait till it's done and then go buy it approach, which is just one more thing for them to think about. And so we're excited about it. What's being done on the design front, and what you guys are doing in your model homes is very impressive. We want to make that easy through our process. Now, again, there's obviously the caveat: not every customer will fit this process, right? That's why we throw that number up there. And if you were in my board meetings yesterday with Todd, we talked about the inverse, the effect of interest rates that are on today's market. It is incredible what the high interest rate market has done to your buyer pool. Mm-hmm. So this is the inverse stats of what you, if you're in my boardrooms yesterday, saw, but it is, there's definitely still people out there that have the desire and have the ability to finance some of the elements that you sell within your design centers, are working through platforms like we discussed tonight.
Thank you, Travis. Okay. Any questions? We have a couple of minutes. It's a lot of information, right?
Yeah, that one was, yeah, absolutely.
Which is great because, you know, builders want referrals from customers. You want to have a great customer service experience throughout their living experience while they're living in the home. So you're going to still be there for them. Great. Find the people with the sticks that have that number, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning for breakfast. Thank you.